What's up, everybody? We're here to talk some golf. I'm here with the golf god Mitchell Snyder and my boy Bryce Sturgeon Schlong. How you guys doing?
I'm wonderful, Mark. How are you doing?
It's been a good week, you know. I can't complain about how this week has gone. How about you, Snyder?
That's going pretty good. Not as well as you guys, though. I think you guys have been hitting six figures about every other week or so. You guys crushed it the other day. I seen you had the leaderboard just littered.
I think
sometimes it goes like that, especially in a two-gamer. Like a two-gamer, if you take certain stands, it can flood the top pretty easily.
I think the main thing was like we both swapped onto Buddy Hield that night, and like a lot of people just kind of left it. And you can see how that goes. Like, Hield's not doing anything tonight, and
he's
like,
way owned,
and he's 60%. Like, and he was what? 9%. Yeah, 13%. Like
tag.
Lower on FanDuel, where I was able to win. I'm still kind of pissed at Mark for taking the DraftKings win, but he won by like 10 points. So I couldn't really complain about it. I just wanted the trifecta.
Yeah. That was a good night. So Snyder, how you feeling about the CJ Cup at the Byron Nelson? Do you like the name of the tournament? That's the first question.
Yeah, the name's kind of tilting for me. It's kind of like they just put two tournaments together and like, oh, screw it, we'll just call this the CJ Cup at the Byron Nelson. But yeah, it's fine. I think we got a pretty good tournament set up here. I mean, the question is how many does Scotty win by? I think is the main question, but we'll see how it goes.
I can agree with you. I bet Scotty a plus 280 a little while ago. I don't see much competition for him here. The pricing though on DraftKings is they finally figured out how to make it prohibitive. It's like they've spent so long where you just kind of have to lock it. And I still think that people are going to get there like 40% and up, but 13,300 when the next highest person is 10.5 that's a lot going on there. And the bottom of the field kind of sucks. So it's really kind of tough to fit him in. Like, I understand there's really only so many build routes you can go with. How do you feel about Scotty, Bryce?
I think you hit the nail on the head with the DraftKings pricing on him. If he was 12K, he's going to be what, 65, 70% owned. Like, this actually makes it somewhat of a decision. So I'm kind of glad they priced him like this, just so, like, I don't know. I think he comes in slightly under 50%. Probably a little higher in high stakes, I would think. I just think it makes for a lot more interesting of a week with him like being priced up like this, and like they're not going down to like 5K pricing or whatever. So like it's kind of a question is, are you going to play Scotty? I mean, if I was playing one lineup, yes. If I'm playing three lineups, I'd probably play him in two of them. Like, I wouldn't want to be under him this week. I think a good question with playing Scotty is, how are you going to get different with him? Like, so you're not just kind of replicating the same like 7K build that everyone else will have when you play him.
Yeah, I think a big issue with that is, the bottom of the field is pretty bad. Like, the 6,500 and lower, I don't see anything worth playing. Like, I personally didn't go lower than Max McGreevy, like hardly like in my entire set. So I'm not playing anybody below 6,900. I don't think there's a lot of guys down there that are suited for the course. And so yeah, my builds are my Scotty builds, which I'm going to be about 50%, are primarily those chalky type builds, like those low 7 guys. Your Enrico Hoey, who's a little higher, but your just a eyeball your Taylor Moores, your Chan Kims, Toasty, Valimaki, Henrik Norlander, and Cam Davis. You're gonna have a lot of builds that involve 3 and 4 of those players just pretty much by default. So it's just a matter of whether you're comfortable only being slightly different than everybody else versus being very different than everybody else. And I think a lot of times people make too much of an effort to be mega different when you only need to be slightly different.
Yeah, I think if the biggest way to get different with Scotty this week is just potentially just don't play him with Taylor Moore. I think that would cut a lot of the lineups off right there. If you just didn't play him with Taylor Moore, I think he's going to be definitely the the highest owned in the 7K. It's like potentially like up to 20%. And I think Valimaki will probably come in second behind him in the highest ownership in the 7K. So if you could just somehow just eliminate those two, I mean, you'd be cutting off so many dupes that way, I think.
Yeah, I ended up selling. We can go through the field here, but I think that's a really good point about Taylor Moore. I ended up selling him kind of hard. I think I'm just under 15% on him. So, that likely cuts off like a lot of the dupe equity. I think I left $100 more than I normally do this week. I went down to 49,700. I think, lineups that leave 200 to 300 with Scotty are obviously have a much higher chance of being different. And, you're not giving up a ton of equity in like a couple $100 in the 7K range. Like, I think salary is more restrictive when you're trying to like jam the very top end and like a lot of those guys. So I think that's a decent way to do it this week as well.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll start by asking what percentage of your lineups do you have Scotty Scheffler in, Snyder?
It's going to be probably, for like 20 max and 18 max, I might even just lock him in those, but definitely probably 50% for sure, 50 to 60%, I think for sure.
Bryce?
I came in around 60%. I think it's slightly above. I think it was between 60 and 65.
Yep. I'm in the high 40s, low 50s, depending on the run. It's hard to get higher than that just because of the dearth of combos, as we discussed. You're only dealing with so many players down there that are useful, but I think half is probably about right. We can go into the next range where I'll count Spieth all the way down to Mac Hughes, 10-5 down to 9,100 because Scotty kind of prices you out of a lot of this stuff. If you were to lock Scotty, you get pretty much zero of all these people. How do you feel about the guys in this range, Bryce? And who's your favorite? Are you playing a decent amount of them? How's that going for you?
Sorry, I was looking at NBA stuff here real quick. This range, I'm naturally going to be selling pretty much everyone in this range just because, playing, 60-some% Scotty, you can't really pair him with any of these guys. But, my favorites are Spieth and Sungjae here. When you're playing this much Scotty, and like I kind of did the same thing as you, I'm not like playing any of these scrubs. So like kind of the cheapest guy that you can get with him, like realistically, is honestly like an 8K guy. So this range is going to be a pretty big sell for me. I would rank them honestly kind of in salary order here. I prefer Spieth to Sungjae slightly. I'm going to end up with a little more Sungjae, I think, just because he's $500 cheaper. Burns, I don't really have any love for. I think I'd prefer Benny Ann to him personally. Pendrith, not really my cup of tea.
Defending champion.
Yeah, I think that kind of steams him up like more to like. I'm not sure how much that really means at this tournament, but I just think he might garner a little more ownership just because of that. I'm just kind of looking to sell this range as a whole. If I had to choose a favorite play in here, I'd go Benny Ann. I think he has a lot of upside for 9,700, and he can really rack up birdies at the scores.
What do you think, Snyder?
Yeah, for sure. I think Spieth's playing a lot better this year coming into the event than he was last year when he missed the cut. So he's right there. I think Spieth and him will be really close in ownership-wise, somewhere probably around like 15% or so for the both of them. Both have great upside. I think Sungjae is actually playing a little better golf right now, coming off the T5 at the Masters and the T11 at the Heritage there as well. So I might lean a little bit to Sungjae right there for $500 cheaper as well. And I like the Benny Ann call right there too. He's got elite upside. And the guy in this range that's closest to Scotty in strokes gained tee to green over the last 36 rounds is Siwoo Kim, who's still a full stroke behind Scotty per round tee to green. But Siwoo's definitely got that huge upside. He's missed 3 of the last 4 cuts, but then he pops off for a top 10 at the Heritage. So, Siwoo's always got that upside anytime he tees it off. And I like Mackenzie Hughes over Taylor Pendrith. I bet Mackenzie Hughes top Canadian earlier, so I like him quite a bit over Taylor Pendrith.
Yep, I agree. I totally agree with Mackenzie Hughes over Taylor Pendrith for top Canadian. My favorite play in this range is, as with every other fucking tournament, Siwoo Kim. Especially with the wide fairways, I think Siwoo Kim with the more forgiving course will have some significant upside, as we discussed, if he just tends to run hot with his irons. My second favorite play in this range is Byung-Hun An, 9,700. I like him a great degree more than Sam Burns and Sung J.M. Up in that price range. Next would be Mac Hughes at 9,100. The guy I really don't want is Ben Griffin coming off the win last week. I'm not really interested in playing a guy like that at 9,200. That's almost a flat fade for me. But as Bryce said, I mean, when you're playing half Scotty, you're probably going to end up low on basically everyone, because you're gonna have a significant portion of the field that will play Scotty Spieth teams with like total dregs. And so even if you're market Scotty, you're going to end up Spieth by not playing the guys that really fucking suck at the bottom. Moving into the next range, Rip Will Zalatoris. Probably never see him again in life. But Rasmus Højgaard at 8,900 we'll go down to Seamus Power at 8K. This 8K range, I kind of like the middle of it a bit, but the problem is fitting it in with Scotty. I think Jake Knapp and Jacob Bridgman are very, very good like bets to like as far as winning the tournament at like 40 to 1, 45 to 1 ish. But you basically have to sack the whole lineup to fit them in with Scotty, which I don't want to do. You pretty much can't play Rasmus or Tom Kim with Scotty like at all, or Gerard really. So, I'm curious for you guys' thoughts on this range, considering how much Scheffler you've got. We'll start with Snyder this time.
Yeah, I think there's some really good options in this, but it's tough to fit like you were saying there. I think Jake Knapp's probably the best play in this range. He had a top 10 here last year. He's kind of rounding back into form off that team event. Sometimes you'll see guys kind of reactivate after they get into like a team event where they're playing with another guy. So we've seen some guys kind of transition after that. So I think Jake Knapp in a wide open course like this, he's just going to grip it and rip it. We know he can get the hot putter like we've seen in his wins before, but Bridgman and Gerard right there as well. I kind of lean to Gerard a little more just because I've been playing him like for the last month or month and a half, and he's just been printing for us. He finished top 10 in both of these Texas events earlier. He was second at the Texas Open as well, 9th at the Houston one. So I really like Ryan Gerard still. The markets favor Bridgman and Knapp a little bit over him, but I think all three of them are great. I think the way you can kind of get different in tournaments too is if you fade Scotty, I think you can play all three of these guys and have a ton of top 10 and win equity playing all three of them. So I'll have some teams with all three of these guys in there as well. Rio is another upside guy. He's been playing some great golf. He was inside the top 15 here as well. Last year, he was T5 at the Texas Open. So he's played well in Texas. I'm probably going to be off Højgaard. I mean, I haven't been playing him. I played him last week in that team event. Kind of broke my heart there. I had him first round leader for a pretty good bet in that other team. Velo goes out and shoots 26 on the front nine, but they lost by 1 there on the first round. But I think Harry Hall's price too high. Seamus a little high for his. I mean, he's still got some upside, but I like others in this range a lot better. But mainly for me, it's Knapp, Bridgman, and Gerard. I'd probably go Knapp, Gerard, Bridgman for me. It's my top 3.
Bryce?
I like the mid-tier guys here. Bridgman and Knapp are my 2 favorites. You can play both of them with Scotty, and not have to go down into the punt range. I think they're better plays straight up than Tom Kim in both Højgaards, who I expect to garner a lot of ownership here. I think it's just kind of a range where you want to be different, but not dumb different. Harry Hall to me is dumb different. I don't really want any Harry Hall. Eric Cole doesn't really do it for me this week either. I would much rather just try and find the money to get up to Knapp or Bridgman or pay down a bit and get like a better balanced lineup than play like these mid like 8K guys who I would consider direct leverage off of Højgaard. And like if there was a better name like to click at 8K, I would probably do it, but I don't really see one. So I kind of like going up or down from that range. I do like Gerard some. Issue is like, it's just kind of like Scheffler, Gerard, and then like 4 7K guys like flat would be like my build with them. And, I think that's a path that a decent amount of people might take. So I kind of like Snyder's suggestion of like kind of getting some of your exposure to this range without Scotty teams. Because I do think like a popular route will be to choose one from this range, Scotty, and then like a cheap guy, 7Ks.
Yep, I think that'll end up pretty highly owned, but it sucks because in a normal environment, I think that this range would be very, very appealing, but I'm just not getting a whole lot of it other than Jake Knapp currently for myself. But guys like Eric Cole and Seamus Power, they tend to do well in these birdie fests, and they're pretty cheap price tags, but I don't really want it here. We'll move now to the upper sevens. We'll go down from Smalley to, we'll cut it off at McCarty 7,500 so that we can talk about Taylor Moore with the rest of them. Snyder, what do you think about the upper end of this range, and then talk about how you're tackling Taylor Moore being so cheap?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really see myself getting too much of the upper range. I was playing Smalley earlier in this year, but this game's off. I know he was top 20 here last year. Matt Wallace is always just an upside GPP play, so I think he's a guy just to have in the pool. Theoborn Olsen, I just don't see myself. I don't think he can make enough birdies here. I think the thing I worry about with Olsen, Kevin Yu, and Rico Hoey is that their putter is just so off and on at times. So I do like Rico Hoey's upside, but I mean, he's losing over a stroke on average putting over the last 36 rounds. So that putter can dry up for him, but he still has elite upside. He can make a lot of birdies if he does get that putter on track. He was T11 at Houston and then missed the cut at the Texas Open when the putter shut off for him. So it's definitely a boom bust play with Rico Hoey. Kurt Kitayama, I'm not going to go there. Theoborn Olsen, he's a fine, solid upside play. He's been kind of rounding in the form too. He was great at the Punta Cana, and then kind of found something in that team event there as well. He finished T5 in that team event. So back-to-back T5s for him entering this. I think he's got good upside at 7,600. So I'll have some of him. Sam Stevens, another guy you can add to the pool. My guy, Matt McCarty, he's been playing well in some of these big events. I mean,
who the hell is Matt McCarty?
T20 at the Players and backs it up with a T14 at the Masters. So he's a guy I'll have. He can make putts too. He's gaining over half a stroke putting over the last 36 rounds. So he's a good putter. He can hit the ball good too as well. So I'll have some of him. He's not the longest off the tee, but I'm not too worried about that here. He can hit the long irons though. So McCarty is right there as well. But I don't see myself getting like huge amounts of any of these guys, but I definitely like the upside of some of these guys.
Bryce?
I kind of like Matt Wallace, and I never really like Matt Wallace. I think he's like a better pivot off of these AK guys than like the AK guys directly. Olsen, Snyder talked a good amount about him. I do think he has upside here. So I don't mind playing him. I think it's like you kind of want to choose upside guys with Scheffler, like super like high variance golfers, and I'll get some in the like low sevens that I'm really kind of hammering home this week. But my favorite play in the range would probably be.
We're talking about outside of Taylor Moore, right?
Yeah.
Outside of Taylor Moore.
I think everyone kind of agrees on Taylor Moore. I kind of gave my thoughts at the start of the show on him. I don't think you want to pay an ownership, like huge ownership gap for Taylor Moore. Like it
is a red state Taylor Moore.
It's just something I'm never going to do. If you see me with Taylor Moore in a winter later this week, feel free to clip this and send it back to me. But I'm going to be under on him. like I'm not like totally clicking him out of my pool or anything. It's just I expect him to be like super chalk and high stakes. So I think he's going to be a pretty big sell for me here. Sorry, to get back on track with who we were talking about. I like Sam Stevens. I think he's kind of like a Taylor Moore type of player here. Wide fairways, make birdies in a bunch. I think you get like a pretty big ownership discount here, and I do like him in Texas.
Yeah, I mean, I mostly agree with you guys. The guy I like most, other than Moore in this range, is Matt Wallace. Just because there is significant upside and he can make birdies in bunches, he can putt. All of his downsides in his game are kind of nullified by the course. So I really like Matt Wallace. I think Kevin Yu is very playable at 7,800. Rico Hoey, as Snyder spoke on, high variance guy. That is my jam. So I'm definitely playing. Rico Hoey is in my optimal. He's in the lineup that I'm playing in the $3,000 contest. So I'm big on Rico Hoey this week. I think Eckroth's very playable, but obviously the best play in the range is Taylor Moore. I'm getting a decent amount of Lee Hodges as well. I think that Lee Hodges could catch fire with the putter and be usable. But beyond that, I'm not getting a ton of the Kitayamas and Salindas. I'm not playing them a whole lot, probably like sub 5%. So they're a little weaker to me in this range. Next we'll go from the 7,400 down to 7K before we talk about the 6Ks, because we have strong opinions on the 6Ks. So we'll go from Jesper Svensson down to Chuck Hoffman. Bryce, how do you see this range? And who's your favorite?
My favorite, this is an old schlong special, Cam Davis. I'm a sucker for his upside every week at 71.
He won in Detroit when we were there.
Yeah, I mean, dude, the guy can make. I like playing him on like courses that you can rack up birdies. Like I kind of look at him as like a flat track bully type of golfer. Like I'm not going to play him at the Masters, but I'll play him here for 7K to get Scotty every day of the week. I just think he offers a really good ownership discount off of some of this chalk. Like I think Davis Riley's a great play, but he's like kind of like Taylor Moore. I think he's going to get like super steamed here. So like I'm not playing Davis Riley, but I'm going to have like more Cam Davis than him. Some other guys I really like in this range, and I kind of like a lot of golfers in this range. I think this is kind of where you want to live with Scotty here. Like the quality of golfer here, I don't think is that far off from like the quality of golfer you get in like the low 8K range, say, and is significantly better than the guys you get in like the 6Ks for the most part. So, I think you just really kind of want to hammer this area. I'm just going to kind of list off players that I like here. Chan Kim, Doug Gim. I'm passing on Kuchar. I like Toasty. I like Valimaki, Damon, Riley. Don't hate Phillips. Love Cam Davis. Really like Norlander. I would say he's my second favorite after Cam Davis here. I'm going to have a lot of him this week. After them, I think it gets a little thinner. I'm kind of looking for guys who hit the shit out of the ball, like a Goddard up type. At 7K, I think he's a really solid play as well.
Snyder?
Yeah, for sure. I think there's a lot of guys in here that I'm high on. I did want to mention something about Taylor Moore, though. I never really talked about him, but I could see him being getting another finish like somewhere 30th, 35th or something like he's been doing. He's missed 2 cuts, and then he was littering like T33 to T41 or in that range. But mainly it's been come down to his approach play. I mean, he's been losing strokes with the irons 6 of the last 7 events. So he's just not hitting the ball well. And if he's going to be super popular, then I'll probably be under on him as well. But getting down into the 7.4s and below, there's some good guys here I like for sure. Like Alejandro Tosti, I've been playing him. He was really strong in both Texas events. He was T5 and T12 in the 2 Texas events. Followed it up with a T2 at the Punta Cana. missed a cut in the team event, which, I mean, that's fine with me. I'm not going to worry about that at all. So I think Toasty is a strong play. I do like Kuchar at 7,300. I think he's one of those guys that's going to battle and scrap and claw his way to any price bump he can. If he can get inside the top 20, he's not going to punt it off on Sunday. And he's played this event like 15 times or so, and he's had some good finishes here. So he knows the course. So he's actually playing decent golf right now. T32 at the Heritage. He was T20 at the Texas Open a couple weeks back. So I do like some Kuchar. Valimaki, I'll probably be field or under on him. I think he's a solid play, but I don't want to get
chalk.
Too overweight on him. Yeah, he's going to be one of those popular guys. Davis Riley, a Soldier. I'll be on Davis Riley for sure. He has a top 10 at this event a few years back, T30 last year, and has 2 T10s in his last 6 events. So he's got really good recent form heading in as well. Can get a hot putter as well, bomber off the tee, and way bigger greens here. So I'm not worried about him missing too many greens here with them being larger than average here. He's got wide fairways, bigger greens. So I like Davis Riley here. Sam Ryder's always a pretty good upside play if you want to go there. Phillips, I like Cam Davis. You guys are talking me into him more here. I think this is a good setup for him. And he's off a couple good finishes there as well. T13 at Heritage, and he played pretty well in that team event. And he was T13 here the last time he played this event a couple years ago. So I like some Cameron Davis there. Hayden Springer's another guy I've just been having in the pool. I think he's got good upside for the price tag. Is a guy that can probably get somewhere close to that T20 like he has in 2 of his last 3 events. He's been inside the T20, so I think he's fine. Fishburne's a guy that I played a lot at the start of the year and last fall. He's shown some upside. He was T5 at the Houston Open, but I mean, it's just boom or bust with him. So he's a guy I think you need to have in the pool just for the upside that he has. Goddard can just bomb it off the tee. He's playing good golf too. 3 of the last 4 T20, and he was top 25 here last year. So I think Goddard is a really good play too at 7K flat.
Yeah, I'm gonna kind of agree with Snyder here. I think Davis Riley is the best play in this range. He may get steamed on his ownership, but I'm not really too afraid of that. He's only like 70 to 1 at 7,200. It's a really fucking good price for him, and it's a good course for him. My second favorite, gonna fucking agree with Bryce here. It's Cameron Davis. Cameron Davis at 7,100. Again, any forgiving course is going to be a lot better for him. We watched him win in Detroit last year, and when shot like minus fucking 25 or whatever the hell it takes to win up there. So the course fits for him. Next, Sami Valimaki, again another very chalky option. He he's been playing really well recently. I was not when I used to take him on the Euro Tour 4 or 5 years ago, I was not expecting this out of him, like coming over to the PGA and just like kind of being a good player, like just consistently making cuts and like going to keep his card. And, so now I'm more of a believer. Kind of the same thing for Chan Kim. Chan Kim's been playing very well recently, so I really like him at 7,400. After that, you're looking at Goddard up at 7K. Again, hits the fuck out of the ball, and it's more of a forgiving course. So I'm definitely going to have a good amount of Goddard up. Everybody else in that range, somebody asked about Sean's asking about any Whaley love. Whaley's been playing really well recently, but I do think there are better options there. He will be in my pool. Like, I'm not like flat Xing him, but he's not a priority. And then you're getting guys.
I had him down in Punta Cana the other week. He looked good.
Yeah.
But I don't like him quite as much in Texas against this field.
Yeah. It's a little more difficult, I would say. So then we'll get into the rest of the field range where we all have strong opinions. I'll start with Bryce. Below 7,000, what's your take here?
So I think a really good way to get different with Scotty is to not play these popular shitters. You just kind of play weird mid-tier guys as opposed to playing Scotty, Mega Chalk, and then the random 6K guy. So I'm not going to have tons of this range. I don't mind McGreevy, Putnam, I think Vegas is fine here. And then I might not go below 6,900. Sometimes that's my cutoff, and I think this week it might be. You're eliminating a good amount of the field here, but you're also like, I don't know, really helping yourself out. Like, I'm definitely not going into like the dumpy 6Ks. I could see like what Ventura and up, like him, Danny Walker, Carson Young, Phillips, Bramlett, Rosner, Messner. I think Potkider just because he hits it so far here. And like an Emiliano Grillo would be like my preferred options here, but I'm not going to personally recommend playing a ton of them. I might just cut that entire range. I just think like, I don't know, compare Cam Davis to these guys, compare Davis Riley to these guys, compare like a Goddard up to these guys. I just think they're infinitely better plays. It's just a couple $100 more.
Snyder?
The more I look into this, I think I'm finding a few guys down here. I definitely think McGreevy is probably the best play of this range for sure. He's going to probably see the most ownership as well. But, yeah, I think, like, Putnam's fine. Doesn't have the best form. I like Quade Cummins. He's been playing some good golf as of late. At Texas Open, he was T33, T41 down at Punta Cana. I think he's fine if you want to go there. Like another guy, Chad Ramey, he's a guy that kind of we've seen him go on stretches where he gets hot for 3, 4, 5 weeks in a row. He's had 3 good weeks in a row. He was T5 at the Texas Open, T18 at Punta Cana, and then he was T8 in that team event last week. So he's an interesting guy, 6,900. If you need some guys down here, Pot Geyer, he's a guy that can nuke it off the tee. I mean, super variant guy. But we've seen him make some putts there down in Mexico and such.
He's won us some money, man. He's won us some money.
I mean, he's lost us some money too in that playoff. That was hurtful. But the big rig, Pot Geyer is definitely in play, I think. Chandler Phillips is another guy I think is fine. He was T32 or better in both Texas events a few weeks ago. So T18 and T32 in those 2 Texas events. I think he's playable down there. There's a few more I was looking at. Nate Lashley, he can play well in some of these birdie fests and easier events. He was T12 at the Texas Open and T27 at the Houston Open as well. So I think he's playable. 6,500. Probably won't see any ownership for him. And Mateo's down there. Shout out to Mateo. A T40 at the Houston Open. He's a guy you can throw into the pool.
How did I not mention him?
Yeah.
That's your boy, dude.
I know.
That's your boy.
I play one Mateo lineup every week. If I don't have one in my file, I manually make one.
And then Frankie Sappin at 6,400. Might have found something in that team event. He played with Jake Knapp last week. Former Soldier many months ago. He was playing pretty good once he first got on tour. I mean, he's been a rough stretch prior to that team event. Maybe he found something there at 6,400. If you want to sprinkle him in some large field type stuff, I would definitely wouldn't play him in like a main team or anything like that. But for like the $25 lotto or something, I think he's fine for.
Yeah, my opinion here is a lot closer to Bryce's. The only person I'm playing below 7,000 is Max McGreevy. The whole rest of the range, I'm just blanking out. I just don't see a reason to go there when you're getting guys who are 70 to 1 ish at 7,100. Chris Goddard up 100 to 1 at 7K. I'm just gonna lean into them, and play 15-20% Max McGreevy and just call it a day. If it ends up burning me, that's fine. As on some books, the field, if they're not pricing those guys in, can be as low as plus 700 past the first 60 guys. But that's a gamble I'm willing to take. If one of those guys beats me, then they're just going to beat me. But I'm just not going to dig. I don't see a reason to, even with Scotty being so expensive. Let's dig into some futures bets here. Gonna surprise you guys with a segment. Bryce, what is your favorite bet to win the tournament and first round leader?
First round here. Let me pull up the current odds here. I still have my old file.
I've got a few first round leaders. You want me to go first?
All right, fire them off, Snyder.
Go ahead, Snyder.
I've got 4 first round leaders: Davis Riley, Nick Hardy, Chris Gotterup, and Jake Knapp. They're pretty mid to long. I think
I love that Knapp one.
Nick Hardy was like 100-1, but he's been playing good on round 1. He's got top 10 round 1 scoring average, I think, for this event. And then Gotterup and Knapp, and Riley's got really good round 1 history too as well in this field.
The one guy I have for round 1 is Knapp at 5,500. So I agree with you there. That's the bet I have for round 1 is on Knapp.
All right, first round. I mean, I can't talk up Cam Davis. I mean, he can go out and shoot super low. Does he have a morning tee time?
Let me check.
Is James your boy?
I think is that not ass? Is that not ass? No, it's an Ohio State logo. I don't know.
Who else did I like? I don't mind Valimaki. I kind of like these outside 7K guys.
So that's one thing.
Yeah, I just guys in the 7K range who I talked up that go off early on Thursday.
Rico Hoey goes off real early as well.
Yeah, Valimaki. I'll play some money on him.
He's 649.
Davis Riley. I know I talked about not eating shock with him, but you're not eating shock, and if I didn't market 70-1 on Davis Riley, I think that's a pretty solid first round leader.
Yep.
Cam Davis was 745.
With all of those. All right, we'll go into the to win the tournament market. We'll start with Snyder, since Bryce is, clearly brain not working very fast. Snyder, who do you like to win the tournament, and what number and why?
I'm going to go with Scotty. I think he's going to win by a touchdown. So I'm going to go Scotty at plus whatever he is, plus 280, I think, at DraftKings is what he was. But I think he's going to finally run away with one here. The stats and everything just point to him. I mean, the metrics between him and everyone else in this field is just completely crazy. Like strokes gained tee to green, he's like a half a stroke. Like Rico Hoey is the closest guy to Scotty Scheffler, actually. Strokes gained tee to green last 36 rounds. Scotty at plus almost nearly 2 strokes gained tee to green, and Rico Hoey's there at plus 1.3 strokes tee to green. So I think Scotty is just going to lap the field. He's finally going to put together 4 good rounds, and I think he's finally going to get one here in his home state.
I agree with that, Snyder. Scotty Scheffler plus 280. I put that in earlier today. The field's just not strong enough. It's going to take something like a Spieth or Siwoo Kim having like a great, amazing weekend to beat him, and I just don't see it. Bryce, what do you say?
I'm going to switch up your segment here and play some winner without Scotty Scheffler markets.
There we go.
I think they're actually decent this week. Like you get Cam Davis 75-1. Don't mind that at all. Got her up 90-1 without Scotty. I think are 2 pretty solid bets here. And then I'm also going to take Davis Riley 60-1 and Toasty 60-1, all without Scotty.
I like that. We'll get into a pick 6 now, presented by DraftKings, dkng.co/RPS. Sign up for pick 6 on DraftKings. I don't know if you guys have it pulled up. I can share it on the
I'm
screen.
pulling it up right now.
Let's see here. Screen, and we'll go with the pick 6. And so here we go. We got the pick 6 screen. They've only got finishing position this week.
Oh.
Other than round. So we can play round. No, that switches to basketball. So yeah, just finishing position this week. I'll start just to just to get us rolling a little bit. I will take Jake Knapp better than 34.5 finishing position. I like that number. Jake Knapp is in my core. Snyder, what do you think?
I'll take the layup. I'll go Scotty better than 4.5.
All right. Bryce, you got to take?
Yeah, I'm going to go Rasmus worse than 32.5. I talked about fading the Højgaards this week.
All right. That's 3 picks. We'll get it to 6. All right. I'm up. I'll go with Jacob Bridgman better than 32.5. Snyder.
I'm gonna go Ryan Gerard better than 33.5.
All right, Bryce.
I will go. God, there's not tons of finishing positions out there. Fuck Spieth. Go over 18.5.
Worse than 18.5 on Spieth. $10 to win a minimum of what was that? Sorry. 150. We'll go with 100 here. Well, let's make it 1,000. 1,000 to win 15,000 on Knapp, Scheffler, Bridgman, Gerard finish better, and Højgaard and Spieth to finish worse.
You guys took all the unders.
We'll punch that in. Oh, I can only enter $250 due to entry fee availability. We'll go with that. So I'll post this on Twitter. Our picks have been submitted. Jake Knapp better than 34.5. Højgaard worse than 32.5. Gerard better than 33.5. Scheffler better than 4.5. Bridgman better than 32.5. And Spieth worse than 18.5. And we'll close out the show with your number 1 favorite DFS play this week. Snyder, you first.
Let me pull up. I'm gonna go Davis Riley.
Bryce?
Cam Davis.
I'm going with Scotty Scheffler.
I thought you were just going to shut the show off. Mark's the host here. I thought that Mark was just going to be like, I'm going to go Scotty Scheffler, not say anything else, and just totally end it right there.